Hey there, I'm Sean. I sit in the corner booth at the corner kitchen, the one with the cracked vinyl and the chip on the edge of the table. It's not much, but it's ours. Sarah's stirring her coffee absently, the steam fogging up her glasses. I'm staring at her, trying to remember the last time we didn't have this low hum of tension between us. We've been married 12 years, and we've seen this place through a lot, back when the menu was more about specials than comfort food, and Joe and Martha were still figuring out their groove. I remember when we first started coming here. Sarah had her usual, a veggie burger and a side of sweet potato fries. Me? A black coffee and whatever pie Joe had in the back. They didn't have much of a crowd back then, but somehow, we just kept showing up. Martha and Joe, their family now. They always asked about work, about the latest project, about our plans for the weekend. When things got tough for me, after a stretch of bad gigs and a rough patch with the therapy sessions, Joe pulled me in. Said they needed a hand in the kitchen for a bit, nothing serious. I wasn't proud of taking the work, but I was grateful. There's something about this place. Sarah's always been busy, advertising's a grind, even if she won't admit it. She's great at what she does, sharp and quick. Me, I've got the music. I work as a therapist, helping people with disabilities express themselves through sound. It's hard, but it's rewarding. It keeps me grounded. Sarah and I met at an art festival. I was performing, and she caught my eye as soon as I started playing. She told me it was the music she was drawn to, but I'm not stupid. She liked the way I made people feel. We hit it off after that, started working on projects together, then got married. Some days I look back and wonder where the cracks started to appear. But then I see her face across the table, and I remember the moments we shared here, the way she'd laugh when Joe brought out something new on the menu or how Martha would pull us aside to ask if we'd like to stay after closing for a drink. Those were the good days. Back before everything started to feel off. These days, things have changed. Sarah's pulled away a little, stopped coming as often. I catch her eyes drifting when she talks about Mike, the new bartender. Late 20s, tall, dark hair. He's always friendly, a little too friendly. I tell myself I'm overthinking it. I know Sarah well enough. She's the type to see the good in people, to want to help, to want to give someone a leg up. But Mike? Something about him feels wrong. The way he looks at her when I'm not around. The way he smiles when he pours her drink. The way he talks about his aspirations. How he wants to make it in the film industry. Always mentioning how he's networking. It's not my job to be jealous, but I can't shake the feeling that something's off. And Sarah? She brushes it off. Says it's professional mentorship. He's young, ambitious. She's helping him. But when I catch a glimpse of that familiar sparkle in her eyes when she talks about him, I feel my stomach drop. She doesn't see it, but I do. We agreed to take a break from the corner kitchen for a while. A small space between us, maybe to breathe, maybe to let things cool down. I didn't think it'd be the beginning of something I couldn't undo. I didn't think I'd end up here, staring at Sarah, wondering how we got here. But I'm not blind. I see the signs. The days after my initial suspicions are a blur of unease. I tell myself I'm overreacting. That I'm seeing things where there's nothing to see. But the nagging feeling doesn't go away. Every time Sarah smiles at her phone, or laughs a little too much at Mike's jokes, I feel something tighten in my chest. I try to shake it off. I'm not the jealous type. But something about the way Mike talks to her, it feels off. It's hard to ignore. It starts slow, subtle at first. Mike, the new bartender, is always friendly, but with Sarah, it's different. When I'm not around, he gives her extra attention. He remembers her drink orders without her asking. He's always laughing at her stories, leaning in just a bit too close. It's casual, sure, but the more I see it, the more it feels intentional. The inside jokes. The little smiles. I tell myself I'm imagining it. I asked Sarah about it one night, over dinner. Mike seems to really like you, I say, trying to keep my voice neutral. She laughs. He's just being nice. It's his job. I nod, but something about the way she says it doesn't sit right. I don't press further. I don't want to seem paranoid, but inside, the nagging thought is growing stronger. Time passes, but things don't feel quite the same. Mike's around more often, and every time I step into the restaurant, it's like they have their own world. Sarah's eyes light up when she sees him. She laughs a little too loudly at his jokes, and they slip into easy conversations I can't follow. There's one night, though, when I catch them in a moment that shakes me. I step away from the bar to make a call, and when I come back, they're deep in conversation. I don't know what they're talking about, but I see it in Sarah's eyes, the same spark that used to be there when we first met, the one she hasn't given me in a long time. I tell myself it's nothing. It has to be nothing. She's just being friendly. But I know I'm lying to myself. Things change after that. I start paying closer attention. I notice how often Sarah and Mike cross paths. She comes in more often without me, just to grab a quick drink or catch up with Joe and Martha. I tell myself it's innocent. Maybe she needs a break, maybe it's nothing. But it eats at me. One day, I overhear a conversation. Mike is talking about networking, and I hear Sarah mention a film project he's working on. She says it like it's no big deal, but the way she talks about him, like she's part of his world, is different. I don't like it, but I don't say anything. Not yet. Later, I check Sarah's social media. She's connected with Mike now. For professional networking, she says when I ask about it. But something in her voice doesn't match the words. She's defensive, and I'm not sure why. It's not the networking that bothers me. It's the way Mike seems to be worming his way into her life, bit by bit. First the inside jokes, then the messages. It's not like Sarah to be so easily flattered. I try to ignore it. I tell myself it's nothing. But the more I try, the more I see. Mike's ambition is obvious. He's working his way through the restaurant, through the regulars, through Sarah, all for something bigger than bartending. I can see it in the way he talks about connections and collaborations. And I can see it in the way Sarah seems to buy into it. She brushes off my concerns when I finally bring them up. He's just a friend, she says. We're just talking shop. But I know it's more. Something's changed. I can see it in the way she looks at him, the way she smiles when she talks about him. It's the same way she used to look at me before everything got comfortable. I want to believe her. I want to believe this is all in my head. But every day, I'm left with more questions than answers. And the worst part? I don't know if I want to hear the truth. The tension's been building for weeks, and I'm trying to shake the feeling that something's off. But one afternoon, when I stop by the restaurant to grab lunch, it hits me like a cold wave. Mike's there, of course, and when he sees me walk in, his face tightens for just a second before he's back to his usual smile. I try to ignore it, but something in his eyes doesn't sit right. The way he's watching me, like he's measuring me. Sarah's sitting at the bar, sipping a drink. She's laughing at something Mike says, a little too loudly, a little too brightly. There's no mistaking it now. The spark in her eyes when she looks at him, it's the same one she used to have when we first met. I don't know if she realizes it, but I see it. I tell myself it's nothing. Maybe I'm being paranoid. Maybe I'm seeing things where there's nothing. But the more I watch them, the more it starts to feel like something real. The way they talk, the way they're too comfortable with each other, like they've known each other forever. I want to pull her aside, ask her what's going on, but I hold back. The last thing I want is to make a scene. Later that day, I'm home alone, and I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Sarah's not there, and I find myself scrolling through her phone, looking for any sign of what's really going on. I don't want to do this, but I can't stop myself. That's when I see it, Mike's playlist. I don't know why I look, but I do. And when I click through it, I find her name saved in it. Sarah's favorites. My stomach drops. I don't even need to see the songs. The name alone is enough. This is the same playlist Mike mentioned a while ago, the one he was so proud of. I remember the way he said it, like it was some kind of inside joke between them. I try to tell myself it's nothing. Maybe she just liked the music, maybe it's all innocent. But when I dig deeper, it gets worse. I scroll down the playlist and see a few tracks I know she's never mentioned. They're all from his favorite bands, the ones he talks about nonstop. And then I notice the timestamp. The playlist was saved just days after Sarah had started acting differently around him. I'm not sure what to do with the information, but I know I can't ignore it anymore. I need to confront her. But I can't just jump in without proof, so I keep digging. I find a few more details, little things I hadn't noticed before. There's a location tag on Sarah's social media, from the night she said she was going to painting classes. She's tagged at the restaurant, on a Thursday, of course. Alone. I try to steady my breathing, but it feels like everything's spinning. I didn't want to know this. I wanted to believe her, wanted to trust her. But now, I can't look away. The pieces are all there, and they fit together in a way I can't deny. It's not just the playlist or the tags. It's the way Mike talks about networking and collaborating. The way Sarah gets defensive when I mention him. It's all too much. I can't ignore it anymore. I'm standing in the kitchen, staring at my phone. I don't know what to do next. Do I confront her? Do I wait for her to come clean? Either way, it doesn't matter. The truth is already starting to surface, and it's too much to ignore now. The days drag on, the weight of what I know pressing down on me. I've got the evidence now. Mike's playlist, the tags, Sarah's defensiveness, but I'm still not sure how to bring it all up. It gnaws at me every time I see her smile, every time I catch her texting someone in another room. But I can't rush this. Not yet. The tension between us is palpable. I can feel it in the way she talks to me, in the way her eyes flicker away when I ask her simple questions. It's like we're both waiting for something to break. So, I decide to take control. One evening, I set the stage. It's quiet, just the two of us at home, no distractions. I've been planning this for days, giving myself enough time to gather my thoughts, to think through everything. I put on some music, the kind we both like, something relaxing. I want the atmosphere to feel comfortable, like an ordinary night. But inside I'm preparing for something that won't be easy. I pull up the playlist on my phone and start it. The music flows through the room, gentle and familiar. Sarah's sitting on the couch, a glass of wine in hand, scrolling through her phone. I've got to do this carefully. I don't want to give her a chance to deflect, to play the innocent victim. I clear my throat, drawing her attention. Hey, I say, my voice steady. I've been thinking about something. She looks up from her phone, raising an eyebrow. What's up? I know about the playlist, I say, keeping my eyes on hers. The words come out sharper than I intended. The one you saved? The one with Mike's music? Her face tightens, and for a moment she says nothing. I can see her calculating, trying to figure out how to handle this. She puts her wine down and shifts, but doesn't say anything. Sarah, I continue, we need to talk about this. The late nights, the secretive texts, the painting classes you've been going to, none of it adds up. You've been avoiding me, and I don't know what's going on. She stands up quickly, shaking her head. This is ridiculous, Sean, she says, her voice rising. You're being paranoid. I don't flinch. I've been expecting this. She's defensive, like I'm the one in the wrong for even asking. You've been acting differently, Sarah, I say, my voice calm but firm. I don't want to believe it, but you're making it hard to trust you. The silence between us thickens. She takes a few steps back, her face flushed with frustration. You don't trust me, she snaps. You never have. You've always been like this, jealous, controlling. I don't have to explain myself to you. I'm not controlling, I counter. I'm just asking for the truth. She huffs, pacing now, her frustration mounting. The truth? Fine. Here's the truth, Mike and I have been talking. He's mentoring me, helping me with my career. I'm not doing anything wrong. You're the one making it a big deal. I stand my ground. That's not all of it, though, is it? Her eyes dart away, and for a split second, I catch the guilt in her expression before she forces it back behind a mask of indignation. This is crazy, she says, her voice trembling. You're the one who's been pushing me away for months. You don't listen to me, you don't see me. And now you're accusing me of something I haven't done? The words sting, but I don't let them land. I know what's going on now. I can't ignore it anymore. I'm not accusing you, Sarah, I say quietly. I'm just asking for honesty. She glares at me, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. I need space, Sean. This isn't working. Maybe we need some time apart to think about where we're going. I can feel the finality in her words, like a door slamming shut. She walks out of the room, leaving me standing there, numb. The tension between us, the unspoken truth, hangs in the air like a cloud. She's leaving, and she knows it. I watch her go, my chest tight with something I can't place. Disappointment. Anger. Betrayal. It's all mixing together into a mess I don't know how to fix. I'm left with the silence, the playlist still humming softly in the background. But nothing feels comforting anymore. The damage is done. And now there's no turning back. Days blur together after she leaves. Sarah's absence hangs in the air like a weight I can't shake off. At first, I tell myself it's temporary, a rough patch will ride out. But when she doesn't come home, when there's no message or even a call, I know it's over. Then Martha from the restaurant calls. I thought you should know, she says, her voice cautious. Sarah's been coming by again. A lot. She and Mike, well, they've been spending a lot of time together. I freeze. I know exactly what that means. She's been with him? I ask, keeping my voice steady. Martha hesitates before answering, the silence stretching between us. Yeah. She's been coming in for dinner, and it's always with Mike now. She doesn't say much, but... She trails off, but I don't need her to say more. I already know. It doesn't hit me all at once, though. I try to move through the day, pretending like things are normal. But every time I glance at the empty spot where she used to sit, it gnaws at me. It's too quiet. It's too empty. Later, my phone rings again. Sarah this time. Her voice is thin, as if she's standing on the edge of something she can't come back from. I moved in with Mike, she says, the words tumbling out quickly, as if she's afraid of them sounding final. I exhale slowly, staring out the window. I know, I say, my voice tight but calm. I already figured that much out. I didn't want to hurt you, she says. Her tone cracks just a little. But I needed this. I need someone who gets me. Someone who gets you. The words catch in my throat. You really think Mike understands you? Her silence answers me. It's not the response I expected, and yet, it's exactly what I thought I'd hear. She doesn't get it. She never really did. The conversation dies after that. No more apologies, no more explanations. I hang up the phone, and the weight of it settles in again. The decision has been made, and there's no going back. A few days later, Martha drops more news. It's not working out between Sarah and Mike, she says. I overheard Mike talking about it the other day. He's using her, Sean. It's not even subtle anymore. I don't feel any satisfaction. Just emptiness. I've seen the signs all along, and maybe part of me hoped I was wrong. But I wasn't. I don't know if it's karma or just a bad choice catching up with her, but Mike's real intentions are becoming clear. He was never in it for anything but what he could get out of her, and probably, whatever he thought he could get from me. Still, I can't shake the image of Sarah out of my mind. I want to say I'm angry, but what I feel is something else. Something deeper. Something that comes with the finality of knowing she's made her choice, and I wasn't a part of it. I changed the locks the day after. I don't need her coming back, not anymore. I filed for divorce the week after that. She's already moved on, and I'm left cleaning up the pieces. Martha and Joe, as usual, are there, offering what they can. They've become the only constant in this mess. Martha even gives me a lawyer's number, someone she trusts, someone who can help me through the mess Sarah's left behind. I'm not angry anymore. Not the way I was. But I won't pretend this doesn't hurt. It does. It always will. But now it's about moving forward, about getting out of the wreckage she left behind and not looking back. In the end, maybe that's the only thing left to do. I let go. And somehow, I feel more at peace than I've felt in weeks.